Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic today. And our main topic is discussing the achievements in the Egyptian diplomacy through the year 2023. And to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone His Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Orabi, former Foreign Affairs Minister. Good morning, Your Excellency.
Hi, good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to your family, and I really have the honor to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Your Excellency, Ambassador Orabi, if we go through the role of the Egyptian diplomacy through the year 2023, we can start, of course, from the latest role of diplomacy concerning the Israeli-Palestinian war and the role of diplomacy in this Palestinian cause, and especially the role of diplomacy that was able to negotiate for delivering the humanitarian aid and supplies to enter to the Gaza Strip through the border of the Rafah border.
Okay, but let me start by saying that the year 2023, I think it was a very difficult year with a lot of challenges and threats from everywhere, and I think the Egyptian diplomacy actually was very successful, to navigate, through all these challenges and to cross many obstacles and many difficulties. But as you just mentioned, the situation in Gaza, I think, is one of the most difficult, I would say, challenges we are facing now, because it has a lot of ramifications and a lot of, impacts on different levels, on the region, on the peace process, on the national security of Egypt, and even the possibility of having, a full-fledged war in our region. So a lot of things, actually, but so far, I think the Egyptian diplomacy actually was successfully tackling the issue, and we had a lot of dimensions working on, the humanitarian dimension, the ceasefire dimension, the exchange of the hostages and the prisoners also dimension, the international cooperation with many countries and also in the UN. So Egypt actually is playing a pivotal role in this issue, and I think so far we can claim that we successfully achieved a lot of good targets, and maybe the beginning of this year it will be, the end of this atrocities in Gaza, and we will try, of course, to produce a new plan in order to achieve a final solution for the Palestinian question and indulge all of us in the peace process, serious peace process, actually. It will not be just, international conference and that's it. No, it should be a serious peace process to conclude by having the right of the Palestinians for having their own state. So a lot of efforts, a lot of obstacles, a lot of pressure, a lot of threats, but I can claim that the Egyptian diplomacy in 2023 was successful, and I hope and I am sure that it will be also successful in 2024.
Yes, Your Excellency, Ambassador Orabi, also what were the main causes that the Egyptian diplomacy have tackled during the year 2023? And you've just mentioned a very important point now answering my first question, the role of the Egyptian diplomacy also in the UN.
Yeah, I think Egypt was so active in the UN. The UN, we should restore the image of the UN as the top authority to maintain peace and security in the whole world. And maybe you will agree with me that during the last year, I think the UN failed, to fulfill this important goal of having the organization. And that's why Egypt was always, very active in the UN, because Egypt is always also support and adheres to the international law and the UN charter. And I think the whole world should adopt this kind of policy because, without the international law and the UN Charter, I think we will indulge in a real chaos in the whole world. And this is not in favor of having a peaceful environment in our world and to try to direct all our efforts for development and coexistence between people.
Yes, Your Excellency, Ambassador Orabi, also tell us more about the challenges that were facing the Egyptian diplomacy during the year 2023, and what are the other causes that are waiting for, or the challenges waiting for the Egyptian diplomacy in the year 2024?
Well, I will try to predict, some challenges which we are going to face, but I think some of it is so clear because, the important issue, which is now the Gaza issue, I think it will remain with us. The implications of the economic crisis in the whole world also will remain with us. The impact of the war of Ukraine and Russia, it will also remain with us. The threat of Ethiopia and the Nile River, I think it will remain also with us for the next year. So we have different, actually, problems and threats, but I can assure you that Egypt as a country and as a government and a president, I think we can face all these challenges with a very prudent diplomacy. And I'm sure that we can cross the 2024 also with successful efforts in different directions. And I hope we can tackle all these difficulties in the coming year. But of course, in diplomacy, you cannot put clear predictions for the situation because every day we have a new dimension and a new crisis in other places. So this is always be a burden on the shoulder of the strategic planners in our region.
Yes, also Your Excellency Ambassador Orabi, how did you evaluate Egypt's stance concerning the Egyptian diplomacy, concerning the Sudanese crisis?
Yeah, this is also one of the problems which we are facing, actually, and I'm so sorry to say that the prospects of having a peaceful solution in Sudan is still so far. And of course, Egypt already exerted a lot of efforts in order to achieve a peaceful solution to this important, crisis, which has also affected our national security, and we will not stop, trying to have a peaceful solution to this war. And but all the prospects which we are receiving now, I think it is not so positive. Maybe the meeting between the two generals maybe will produce a new impetus for having a peaceful solution. But I still have some doubts that the situation in Sudan will be quiet in the near future. I think the Sudanese people, they are suffering now, and all of us, we should support them and trying to put an end to this vicious circle of violence in Sudan.
Yes, also Your Excellency Ambassador Orabi, your evaluation of the Egyptian diplomacy dealing also with the crisis in Libya, not only on the political side, but also when Libya have suffered from rain and floods recently in the past months. And there are Egyptians, of course, in Libya, and the role of the diplomacy to make sure that the Egyptians there are safe and to contact them, I mean.
Yes, Libya also is, I would say, a grave situation in Libya because so far we didn't embark on a peaceful plan to have a united government there. There is a lot of efforts, and Egypt, of course, part of these efforts, and the UN envoy also. But so far we didn't see any real progress on that file. But Egypt is always, trying to help the Libyan people in order to facilitate their life. And I think the situation in Benghazi and some other places in Libya will be a real proof that Egypt has extended their hands in order to facilitate the life of the Libyan people there in this area. And we are sure that as soon as we will have, I would say, united governments and peaceful solution to the situation there without any foreign troops on the Libyan territories, I think Egypt will extend their support, and it will be an important element for having or restoring actually the normal life in this country, because there is a sort of effect between the national security of Libya and the national security of Egypt, of course, and that's why we will extend our help and trying to give the Libyan people the right, I would say, conditions in order to live in the right place.
Yes, Your Excellency Ambassador Orabi, back to the Egyptian mediation and role in the war between Israel and Palestine or Gaza Strip. Egypt have 2 days ago have announced a kind of a plan or a framework in order proposal in order to put an end to the conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and to put an end for the aggression and a ceasefire in order to protect the civilians. Actually, Egypt before this last month was played a big role in the truce that lasted for 1 week between Israel and the Gaza Strip, with the mediation, of course, of Qatar and the United States. So this is not the only time that Egypt is trying to mediate in order to put to make an end or a ceasefire and an exchange of hostages. So give us an idea about the latest proposal by Egypt to put a framework to put an end for the ceasefire, and Egypt said that it did not receive any reply until now.
Well, this is a very good question, actually, and I think I can say that Egypt is aiming now for a lasting peace. I mean, we cannot tolerate every now and then a vicious circle of violence between the two sides. I think our plan now, or our goal, is to have a lasting peace, when, of course, in 3 stages, because we cannot embark on a peace process now after all this devastations and all this hatred between the two sides. I think we should have a transitional period first, and to try to tackle all these thorny issues which is now prevailing on the ground, and then we can launch a real peace process after that. But of course this will take a lot of, I would say, efforts, and I think Egypt is ready to exert all these efforts in order to put an end to this circle of violence between the two sides every now and then. And the region actually cannot tolerate, this kind of problems, which is, has a real impact on the security of our region. So this is the plan of Egypt, to have a comprehensive approach, not just a ceasefire and exchange of prisoners, but of course we can, after that, we can indulge in a real peace process and trying to have an end forever, actually, to this circle of violence between the two sides. And, but, of course, this kind of problems cannot be solved in 1 day or 2 days. I think it will have a lot of efforts, a lot of negotiations, and we need also some partners in order to pressure Israel to be more forthcoming to this kind of solution or comprehensive actually approach. So we hope that in 2024 we can claim that we already finished that circle of violence between the two sides, and I think this would be a great achievement if we can do that. And Egypt is able to actually to help and to be an instrumental on that, or a catalyst actually between the two sides, in order to conclude this violence by having peace and lasting peace between the two sides.
Yes, Your Excellency Ambassador Orabi, how did you see the Egyptian diplomacy during the year 2023? The Egyptian diplomacy, which have highlighted the Egyptian role in Egypt, role in the Middle East, and Egypt's acting as the heart of the Arab world.
Well, I think we should add also that the Egyptian diplomacy is now instrumental in the development inside the country also. We cannot put a sort of distinction between our efforts abroad and what's going on inside the country, because foreign policy is now serving the development and serving the welfare of the Egyptian people. And I think so far we did it well. And of course, we have another duty, which is to safeguard the national security of the country, and by having a good relation with different parties and different groups everywhere. And also, we did that in the right way. And of course, we can build on that, because on the 24th we will have the full membership of the BRICS and many other things. It will be active on it. And of course, our Arab circle is so important, and the African circle also is so important, the Mediterranean. I think we are doing well so far, and we have a very good contacts with the EU countries, and especially France and Germany and Greece and Cyprus and many other countries actually. So the arms of the foreign policy of Egypt actually is everywhere, and we have a very solid repetition on that and credible approach for many things, or many problems, especially these chronic problems in the region. We are always helpful in the Syrian crisis, the Yemeni, the Libyan, Sudanese, the security of the Red Sea, and also the Mediterranean. Our efforts to be cradle of energy in the Mediterranean. I think it is also so successful, and is due to the Egyptian diplomacy for the last few years. So we are everywhere, and we can do a lot of things. We have clear strategic direction, which is how to maintain the interest of the Egypt, and also have to maintain the principles of Egypt foreign policy, which is so important, and is not even easy to maintain the two things, the interest and the principles. So let us hope the 2024 will be also an extension of the successful policy of Egypt, and I am sure we can do that. We have also the very active presidential diplomacy, which is now a part and one of the pillars, actually, of the foreign policy of Egypt, and it helps, to tackle many thorny issues. And I hope we can, continue in that effort and try to even improve it, and to cover many other areas in the world.
Yes.
And we are ready for that.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. I really had the honor to have you with us this morning. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Al-Orabi, former Foreign Affairs Minister. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, a short break, and I'm going to be back